his half hour tonight. You guys give it up for Reuben Wolf, everybody.
Thank you. So this is the lighting we're going with, huh? I have to look at every one of these people for a half hour. So get ready. Oh my God, you guys! Yeah, I am filming this. It's a big personal milestone, actually. The Facebook post just came up. I just celebrated 4 years of doing stand-up. Yeah. And I promise you all, I'm just as good today as I was back then. No, a lot's changed since I started doing stand-up in that 4 years. I'm gonna tell you guys a story real quick. I got started doing comedy in Buffalo, New York. If you guys don't know Buffalo, it's well, you know how Disney's the happiest place on the planet? Buffalo isn't. At all. Anyway, when I first started doing open mics, the host could never remember my name. In fact, for the longest time, I would get introduced as, your next comic coming to the stage, can someone check the list? Oh yeah, Reuben Wolf. And that stuck with me, you guys. That stuck with me. I want to make sure that never happened again. So I met every single comic in Buffalo, New York. I went to every open mic. I went to shows, I networked, I supported, and it all paid off. Because the very first show I booked on, I got introduced as, your next comic coming to the stage. We all think he's gay. Reuben Wolf. That is the last time I share my Gossip Girl fanfiction with anyone from Buffalo. You guys, no, a lot has changed. I started traveling for comedy. Thank you. Thank you also. Anyone else before I move on? No, I started traveling for comedy, and it's great because you see all this shit that you would never see in New York City, right? I went down to South Carolina a few months ago, and I swear to God, I saw people smiling. Right? We don't see that here. New York's hard me so much. Someone came up to me and was like, "Good morning." I'm like, "Dude, back the fuck off," right? I think we all know, it's just when someone says good morning to you, we expect it to be followed by, "I'm hungry, do you have any spare change?" You know? I just got back from doing comedy in Hawaii, and I learned that there's two types of Hawaiian. You guys, there's your native Polynesian, and the white girl from LA who just thought it was all too much, you know? She was like, "Well, Hawaii just really signaled with my values of easy living and nature," and I could not relate to that, being from New York, right? Because New York doesn't sync up with my values at all. Before I moved here, I did not value crying on a subway into a $12 cup of coffee. Guys, does New York sync up with any of our values? Does anyone value watching homeless people jerk off? No, but here we all are, right? Hawaii's great because the entire state they named after a shirt. Yeah, let it sink in. It'll get there. They all wear them there. Those Hawaiian shirts. The governor wears them in his press conferences that are on TV. I guess I'm the only one who thinks that's weird, but no governor does that. The governor of California doesn't wear surf shorts in his press conferences, or the governor of Texas doesn't wear a cowboy hat. Ron DeSantis doesn't smoke a crack pipe. Right? I mean, he should, but he doesn't, I watched one of the press conferences, and when the governor of Hawaii had on that shirt, I couldn't believe it. When it first came on, I was like, wow, this Magnum PI reboot sucks. I don't know. The press conference I watched was about getting the booster because you need that to go to Hawaii now, and I could not take that seriously. I had to take medical advice from a guy who was a reject from MTV Spring Break. I thought he was on his way to a bachelor party. He was like, "Get the booster shot and we're all gonna butt chug it," You guys butt chugging your boosters? Is that? No? Keep laughing, taking a sip of drink. I did get the booster, because, again, you need that to go to Hawaii, and I don't think it matters. You guys, right? Nothing we do matters. I don't know if you guys know this, but whether you're vaccinated or boosted, any comedian will give you herpes. So, right? No, I did get the booster. I got all the usual side effects. My arm hurt. I felt really sick. I ordered a vegetarian burrito. Question my sexuality. That's what happens when you butt chug your booster, you guys. I do question my sexuality sometimes. Thank you. I do, and my therapist says that's okay, Reuben. Just follow the evidence. I'm like, okay, let's see. I'm a bit of a loner. I appreciate women from far away, and I have a bad relationship with my parents. That makes me a true crime podcast. Right? Just like one law degree and murder away from being Ted Bundy. You guys. Quite frankly, I don't think serial killing and stand-up are too different. You know how many times I sat down to write a joke and I end up with a serial killer manifesto? It happened to me today. Earlier I wrote dating is weird on the top of a piece of paper. An hour later, I'm like, wow, I hate hookers. How did that work? It's also a lot easier. Like, we all know, it's like a lot easier to get a Netflix special as a stand-up, or as a serial killer than a stand-up, right? Yeah! For real, think about it, guys. There were 3 movies about Ted Bundy in 1 year. There's one documentary about Richard Pryor ever. Like, kill 100 people, documentary series. Kill in front of 100 people, half-hour special in a dungeon. I realize now how awkward it is when I take a drink. I did have COVID. You guys, I got COVID from doing comedy, so you're all gonna die. I got COVID doing comedy, and I told my mom that, and then it dawned on her that every comedian shares a microphone. And she goes, that's disgusting, Reuben. They're all spitting into it. You don't know what's growing in that thing. I'm like, Mom, if you think what's gross is going in a microphone, you usually hear the shit that comes out of a microphone. Yeah, it's like, I've been inhaling spit for a half hour. I've been ingesting dick jokes for years. You know? I do have a hot mom, since none of you asked. You know how I know that? We look nothing alike. In fact, I think the only physical feature my mom and I share is our boob size, really. Also, everybody would tell me growing up, too. They'd be like, dude, your mom is so hot. And I'd be like, that's a weird thing to bring up at a parent-teacher conference. Oh, you guys want to hear something really gross? Is one time my mom and I were mistaken for a couple. Yeah. Told you it gets worse. It's cool if like somebody wants to assume my mom can date a little younger, but what does it say about me? That the best I can do is my mom. Right? Like, I don't think I have a type, but I'd hate to come to find out that it's my mom. That's all. I actually, it's funny, I joke about my mom, but I make fun of my dad a lot more in my stand-up. And we don't really talk a lot, but he sent me a text the other day, like, hey, I just watched a video of you, of your comedy, I think you're really great. And I'm like, did you watch all of it? I literally roasted you for 5 minutes. You're the villain in that movie, Dad. Speaking of movies, again, my dad and I didn't have much of a relationship growing up, so like, I would usually have to turn to movies to see like what sort of father-son activities we should have been doing, and we did none of it. You guys, like, my dad and I never built a shed. We never paddled a boat down a river. He never chopped my hand off in a lightsaber battle. Like, he never even traveled back to 1955 to fuck my mom. Like, that's... What kind of father is this? You guys, my mom actually didn't like my dad too much because, I mean, amongst many reasons, but one of the ones she gave me was that my dad was a misogynist, at least she thought, and I kind of have mixed feelings about that. Because, like, on one hand, my dad taught me to never curse in front of women. On the other, he taught me which girls in my high school he wanted to fuck. So, like, what are we doing, Dad? Do we like women or do we like women, you know? It's funny, my parents are divorced, thank God. They got divorced when I was 25, and my dad still tried having the "it's not your fault" talk with me. I'm like, yeah, I'm 25. You brought a hooker home. Gonna wash my hands of this one. He goes, you get it when you're my age. I'm like, what, the clap? You slept with a hooker. Actually, so the one thing my parents could agree on was that I had 3 brothers, and they kind of both wanted us to be in show business, which is unheard of, but they wanted us to be like a song and dance group like the Jackson 5, but it was me and my 3 untalented brothers, or as they called us, the How Did We Get Birth to These 4? Have I brought the energy? How am I doing? How am I doing so far? Let's not cut that, Ryan. Let's keep that in there. I joke a lot about pop culture, and I probably shouldn't, because I had a phone call with America's Got Talent once, and it went really well. And then they said, at the end of the phone conversation, they're like, hey, do you have any jokes that are not about sex or celebrities? And I'm like, well, it was great talking to you. And that was the end of that. Again, I really shouldn't joke about celebrities, but here comes one. Ready? Harvey Weinstein. We all know, right? You know him. Perennial asshole, and that was always known. I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but there was an interview done with Courtney Love in like the 90s where she was asked, hey, do you have any advice for like young actresses? And she says, yeah, if Harvey Weinstein invites you to a party in his hotel room, don't go. I mean, how low of a person do you have to be to want to fuck Courtney Love? You know? I think if Harvey Weinstein wanted Kurt Cobain's sloppy seconds, he could have just listened to the Foo Fighters. You know? I did that joke at the mic yesterday and it didn't work, Hope. Remember that? Shows how much comics know, right?
I was blackout drunk.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It was a good joke you missed.
Jokes.
Yeah. Here comes another joke about celebrities. There's a show on Hulu about the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee sex tape. You guys seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Very inspirational, I think. Because I think if I get famous, I'm going to release a sex tape. Right? It won't be good, but it will be a sex tape. In fact, a quarter of it will be like actual sex, 3/4 of it will be her saying, no, Reuben, don't worry, that happens to everybody. Quite frankly, in this age of technology, I don't know why every celebrity doesn't have a sex tape. Especially the ones you don't want to see with a sex tape. I want to see Dustin Hoffman's sex tape. Don't you? Don't you like want to see him pull off his pants, point to his penis, and call it his little fucker? Right? Come and scream Rain Man, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole crowd working bit about that, but I don't know if I want to do that. Fuck it, let's give it a try. I'm up here.
Yeah.
We're gonna close the place down. Name a celebrity. I'll tell you what happens in their sex tape.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, I suck at crowd work, so probably. No, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is a big dude. I think he comes on her chest and then says, "Those have been terminated." That's. Should we do another one?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. I don't know who that is.
That's even better.
I'm surprised you 3 have laughed at anything I said.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay, he's someone I know. That's a smart dude. I bet he says, I'm going to put it in your black hole. Am I done yet? It's a great one to end on. Matthew McConaughey. Oh my God. I bet he just comes and says, all right. Moves on with his life.
David Bowie.
Who?
David Bowie.
I don't know who that is. Here's another joke about pop culture. Sorry. I wear a lot of band. You said David Bowie. He's on my shirt. I wear a lot of band T-shirts, just so you guys know. And I was wearing my favorite the other day, The Clash.
Yeah.
You guys don't know, but everyone else might. No, The was wearing a shirt of the Clash, and somebody approached me and asked me the obligatory band T-shirt question. Hey, can you even name 3 songs by the Clash? I'm like, should I stay or should I go? Rock the Casbah, and no, I can't name 3 songs by the Clash. Actually, if you want me to name 3 of anything, Asper's Brothers, my mom likes better than me. You know? All that shit, pop culture just gets in my personal life, man. Like everything, like I'm dictated by it. Like I want to have a kid one day, and I want to have a boy and a girl. And I've always said I want to name the girl after like one of my favorite songs, and I want to name the boy after like a kick-ass movie character. So I just need to find a girl who's gonna let me name my kids Big Papa and the Terminator. Right? And I know you guys are thinking, like, Big Papa, that's a dumb name for a girl, but in my head, she just loves it when I call her Big Papa. You know, with my dad, I think a lot about, like, what sort of dad I would be, and you're supposed to be your kid's hero. I just don't think comedy gives you those types of, like, tools to do that. Right? Like, if I ever have a kid who's, like, in a Taken scenario, I would get that phone call and be like, well, I don't have any skills, but, want to hear a joke? Just like you, it might murder, you know?
Oh.
That wasn't that bad, Danny.
That was great.
Thank you. I appreciate the verbal validation. I do want to have a kid one day, and that's why I'm thinking really hard about proposing to my girlfriend soon. Thank you. And then well, then I remembered we broke up 2 years ago, so that's all right. Bummer. We did break up, and I will say towards the end of my relationship, my girlfriend goes, you know, Reuben, just so you know, I would rather get the death penalty than go back to dating. And I said, just so you know, that's a great idea for a game show. I would call it Meet Cute or Execute. It'll be like Wheel of Fortune, so all the letters are capital and also the punishment. And I know you guys are thinking, if I had put more effort into my relationship than that joke, I'd probably still have a girlfriend, right? My girlfriend and I dated when I was a lot heavier, and she was just as heavy as I was. You guys know that fat couple on the street where you're like, oh, it's so cute that those two found each other. That was me. When you're in a fat relationship, you can't do like a lot of the normal skinny couple stuff, like sit next to each other on an airplane, or breathe without wheezing, you know. One time we tried having sex in her shower. That was a disaster. Just so you all know, fat shower sex is the only shower where you come out stinkier than when you went in. Alright, I'm going to describe fat shower sex to everyone in this room. You ready? Have you ever like gone camping and tried to roll up your sleeping bag like really tight? And then like really try to stuff it like into your backpack? And then try to fuck it? She had one of those glass pink showers, so it was like 2 amoebas expanding under a microscope, you know? You guys ever tried to eat a burrito with just your penis? And it's, is that too far? Did we take it too far? Let's pull it back. I am trying to date now. I'm on the dating app Hinge. If you guys don't know what Hinge is, it's a dating app where all the girls are better than you. I get asked all these trap questions on a first date, like, what do you do for a living? I can't get out of that one. Like, what am I supposed to say? I'm a doctor, that's why I was splitting the check at a Wendy's, right? And can you drive me home? That's cool. I do try to meet women in person, though. I'm not very good at it, but I met a hot girl the other night, and I got her phone number, and I texted her, like, hey, it's Reuben. And she just replies, Wahoo? I'm like, wait, am I trying to fuck Super Mario? What's going on? I know where I stand with a text like that. I'm not getting laid, right? Who gets laid from a sound effect? Like, no girl's ever been like, I'm taking him to Bonetown. Kapow! Can't wait to fuck the shit out of him. Ding dong. That's a good joke. You should have laughed at that one. Sorry. I'm not, my love life is that sad. It's really not that great. Never had a girl flirt with me. I've always wanted to, though. Closest I've ever got is a drugstore clerk once asked if I had a tube of chapstick in my pocket or if I was just happy to see her. That's just because I was shoplifting chapstick. And I have a hard time approaching women. I'm kind of afraid. But people always tell me that the worst thing a girl can say is no. I'm like, really? The first girl I asked out said, as if, Reuben, you're fat and ugly. No, she could have just said no. Is no really the worst thing a girl can say? Like, what about fuck you? Or I'm a Jets fan? Or or Heil Hitler, right? Like, that's way worse than no. Like, nobody will ever approach a girl and says Heil Hitler and think, well, she didn't say no, right? Is Heil Hitler too old of a reference for you guys, or? You got it? Okay. No guy would ever do that. I think you might, but, the one I pointed to, too. If I wanted to point to you, I would have done this. You know what my big problem is, guys? I'm a huge football fan, if you can tell from that last joke. I'm actually a big Miami Dolphins fan, to the point where them winning a Super Bowl has become my sexual fantasy. I actually brought that to my ex-girlfriend once, and she's like, that's not a sex fantasy, Reuben. I'm like, okay, you find me a girl who can screw me the way the Dolphins have screwed me for 20 years.
Brilliant.
I know, thank you. Verbal validation is okay. It's all right here. I call the team a we, the team I root for, the Dolphins. I don't know if you guys do that with your sports teams, like we suck, or we won, or we should stop hitting our kids and blaming it on concussions. Right? We. I never did it with my girlfriend. Call us a we. She would try. She'd be like, hey, we are going to brunch this Sunday. Like, you're going to brunch. We have Cleveland this week. She's like, Reuben, we have a problem. I'm like, yeah, we need a quarterback. Well, I only have 2 more jokes, Hope. Here it goes.
Alright.
A lot of states are legalizing drugs now, right?
Woo!
Thank you. I'm not much of a drug person myself. I did LSD once and never again. I figured if I'm gonna do something that makes me want to jump out of a window, I'll just call my mom.
Oh, she's a milk.
Not to me.
Yeah!
She's just mom in that whole phrase. No, I did start smoking weed again, though. Okay, nobody cares. Right, no, I did. I quit for a while. So people have trouble quitting smoking pot. I found it's actually really easy to quit smoking pot if you can just run out of pot. I ran out of pot and money. Boy, was I lucky. Now that weed's legal in New York, I think it's kind of like a kid's drug. And I don't know if that's just me or because I roll my joints with the pages of a coloring book. I just think as you get older, the drug should get harder. Right? Like, I was a teenager when I first smoked pot. I was in my 20s when I dropped acid. I just turned 30. I think it's the year of crack. Yeah. I don't know much about crack. I just know somebody wants to suck my dick for it. It's got to be good. You know? Has anyone here ever tried crack? All right, nobody wants to suck my dick. Thank you. I've been Reuben Wolf. You guys have been wonderful.